In the blink of an eye, the tide of battle shifted, and those who hesitated would be erased. If you enjoy my way of explaining and storytelling, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really motivates me to keep creating. Haha. Even if you're willing to let us slip away this time, we still won't rest until that spirit stone is in our hands, Brother Tang. I pried this secret from the very soul of the one who discovered it, so don't bother trying to deceive me. The fat man sneered coldly, the folds of his flesh quivering with each low chuckle. So it was you who killed Protector Li? The blue-robed man faltered for a fleeting instant, shock flashing across his face before it was swallowed by a storm of fury. With a sharp flick of his wrist, the azure mirror in his hand swept through the air, unleashing several thick pillars of radiant light that thundered toward his foe. So you're no longer denying your possession of the Spirit Stone. A mocking curl tugged at the fat man's lips. The round bowl before him flared with a surge of yellow light, effortlessly swallowing the incoming beams whole. So what if I have it? Everyone knows top-grade Spirit Stones are invaluable for breaking through bottlenecks. There's no chance I'd hand such a treasure over to a pack of demon beasts. Or are you not afraid that in the end, the Star Palace will reap the benefits of our conflict? The blue-robed man's rage receded as swiftly as it had come, replaced by a chilling composure. Star Palace. The fat man lifted his thick neck, an odd glint surfacing in his eyes. Do you really think it's only our sea race attacking your Starfall coalition? Let me enlighten you this time. We've mobilized all our strongest forces. Not only will we seize the top-grade Spirit Stone, but we'll reclaim every spirit mine on this island. The outer seas have always belonged to us. For human cultivators to think they can claim even a fraction of these resources is nothing short of a joke. We merely allowed your kind to flourish because we hadn't yet gathered our full strength. Elder Tang's expression shifted drastically as those words sank in. At that very moment, a distant howl rose through the air, long wild, and resonant as though echoing the fat man's declaration. Moments later, a vast tide of blue demonic mist surged forth from afar, within which countless shadowy forms writhed. Ha ha! It seems the Star Palace cultivators have already been dealt with. As expected, striking one side before advancing was the correct strategy. None of you will escape now. The fat man burst into booming laughter. The bowl before him erupted with torrents of yellow light that cascaded downward toward the blue-robed man, while the golden ring circling his arm shot forth, multiplying into layers of shimmering projections that descended like a relentless storm. With reinforcements arriving, the demon beast's assault intensified dramatically, leaving no room for escape. The blue-robed man's face twisted with shock and fury, yet he found himself utterly pinned, unable to break free. Across the battlefield, similar scenes unfolded. The metamorphosis stage demon beasts abandoned all restraint, unleashing overwhelming barrages without regard for their dwindling reserves. Blinding lights of every hue collided and intertwined as thunderous explosions reverberated through the heavens. Not a single nascent soul cultivator of the Starfall coalition could disengage from their opponent. Meanwhile, the advancing cloud of blue demonic mist surged forward with lightning speed. In the blink of an eye, it loomed overhead, revealing the grotesque and menacing features of the demon beasts within. Even the slowest among the Starfall coalition cultivators now realized the dire straits they were in. Retreat! Someone suddenly cried out. At once, the low-grade cultivators scattered in all directions like startled birds. Above them, the nascent soul cultivators scrambled for any opportunity to extricate themselves. Some shifted into defensive stances, retreating cautiously toward the stone peak. Others unleashed devastating attacks in desperate attempts to force their enemies back long enough to escape. A few possessing secret escape techniques remained eerily composed, their eyes sweeping the battlefield as if searching for something unseen. Han Li, who had initially intended to withdraw, abruptly halted his plans upon hearing the words top-grade Spirit Stone. Though he had never laid eyes on such a legendary treasure, he had read of its miraculous properties countless times. Not only was it a crucial component for constructing certain ancient grand formations, but its ability to aid cultivators in breaking through bottlenecks was nothing short of extraordinary. From core formation to deity transformation, its effects extended across all realms, though diminishing with higher cultivation. Even so, its value remained immeasurable. Now that such a treasure had surfaced, it was no wonder the Starfall Coalition had mobilized their nascent soul cultivators, nor that the demon beasts had launched an all-out assault. Where there was one, there could very well be more. Hanli inhaled slowly, his thoughts sharpening as clarity dawned. With such a rare treasure before him, retreat was no longer an option. Yet determining who held the Spirit Stone posed a dilemma. By logic, it should be entrusted to the strongest, making the blue-robed man the most likely candidate. However, it was equally possible that he had secretly passed it to an inconspicuous low-grade cultivator to smuggle it away. If that were the case, even someone of Han Li's power could not possibly intercept every fleeing cultivator amid such chaos. His brows knit together in thought, then gradually relaxed. The metamorphosis stage demon beasts were no fools. They would have considered this as well. There was no way they would allow any cultivator to escape. All he needed to do was wait. When the Spirit Stone revealed itself, he would seize it in a single decisive move. At his current level, none present human or demon could hope to stop him. With that resolve, Han Li remained before the pavilion, concealing his presence as he observed the battlefield with cold detachment. As expected, hundreds of demon beasts burst forth from the incoming mist, immediately giving chase to the fleeing cultivators. Most were of the 3rd and 4th grades, though several 5th-grade beasts lurked among them. Each human cultivator found themselves hunted by a foe of equal strength. Against such overwhelming odds, escape was little more than a distant illusion. The blue demonic mist soon merged with the battlefield, swelling into a vast roiling mass. A terrifying surge of demonic chi erupted skyward, and from within it a sphere of golden flames shot forth. Light flashed. A demonic cultivator clad in golden armor emerged. It bore the head of a worm and the body of a man. In its grasp was a golden spear, crackling with arcs of silver lightning, forming a sinuous serpent of energy along its shaft. Its armor forged from countless golden scales, etched with minute runes pulsed with dense demonic chi. The moment it appeared, its piercing gaze swept across the battlefield. An overwhelming spiritual sense blanketed the entire stone peak. The hearts of the nascent soul cultivators sank in unison. The blue-robed man's face drained of all color. Golden Wyrm King. Impossible. How could you break our agreement and appear here in person? A 10th-grade demon beast. Why shouldn't I come? The worm replied coldly. If you expect me to honor our agreement, then show me you still possess the strength to uphold it. 3,000 years, and not a single deity transformation cultivator among you. And now a top-grade spirit stone has appeared. Tell me, why should I restrain myself? As his words faded, 2 more demonic cultivators stepped forth from the mist. One clad in black robes bore red hair, a green face, and a maw filled with jagged fangs. Broad and imposing, it stirred a flicker of recognition in Han Li's mind. Isn't that the demon tortoise from before? Han Li's heart stirred uneasily. His expression darkened as he scanned the mist, but no further figures emerged. He frowned, yet refrained from probing with his spiritual sense. Against a 10th-grade beast, even the slightest misstep would expose him. With the Golden Wyrm King present, the fate of the Starfall Coalition seemed all but sealed. Still, what was the connection between this worm and the savage flood dragon? Panic spread across the battlefield, yet the blue-robed man refused to yield. With a piercing cry, he detonated his blue flying sword. The ancient treasure exploded with devastating force, erupting into a massive sphere of silvery white light that tore through the surrounding mist. The fat man's attacks were swept aside, his golden projections shattered instantly. Startled, the fat man hastily poured power into his bowl, forming a protective barrier as he retreated rapidly. Seizing the moment, the blue-robed man summoned a purple handkerchief. It transformed into a radiant cocoon of violet light. Enveloping him completely, then streaked through the air like a comet, vanishing over 200 feet away in the blink of an eye. The blue-robed man's actions seemed to serve as a silent signal. In the very next instant, all the nascent soul cultivators unleashed astonishing secret techniques of their own. Some vanished where they stood, swallowed by bursts of blinding white light. Others spat out mouthfuls of blood essence, their bodies transforming into streaks of crimson as they fled into the distance. Every one of them was escaping with desperate resolve, no matter the cost, even if it meant grievous self-inflicted harm. Huff! A cold snort echoed across the battlefield as a frosty gleam surfaced in the golden Wyrm King's eyes. With a casual flick of his hand, thunder roared through the heavens. In its wake, a streak of intertwined gold and silver shot forward like a bolt of divine judgment. The golden spear had already been hurled. The instant it left his grasp, it vanished. Crap! The blue-robed man had been watching the golden Wyrm King closely, and his heart lurched violently at the sight. Without hesitation, he flung his azure mirror behind him. Azure radiance erupted outward, forming a colossal projection of a full moon dozens of feet across. Its cool, luminous glow enveloped him completely, as if cradling him within a celestial barrier. Yet in that same heartbeat, a massive golden spear, stretching over 100 feet in length, materialized out of thin air. Silver lightning writhed along its surface before crashing directly into the heart of the azure moon. The moon shattered. Its surface fractured like glass under unbearable strain, cracks racing across it in a web of ruin. The spear tore through it mercilessly, obliterating the projection in an instant. Ah! Alarm flashed across the blue-robed man's face. The purple light surrounding his body trembled violently as he attempted to activate another escape technique. But it was too late. The enormous spear shrank abruptly, compressing to half its size as it surged forward through the remnants of the shattered moon. In the blink of an eye, it slammed into the purple light. A deafening explosion rang out. Though the handkerchief was no ordinary treasure, its purple glow holding firm against the spear's assault, the impact struck the blue-robed man like a crushing hammer. His body was wrenched out of his control, sent hurtling backward through the air for dozens of feet. The golden Wyrm King stepped forward. One step yet, it spanned over 100 feet. His figure flickered only a few times before he was already upon his fleeing prey. His hand reached out, fingers gleaming as if forged from molten gold. The blue-robed man had barely regained his bearings when he saw death descending upon him. Panic seized him. He opened his mouth and spat out a sphere of green light, a bead no larger than a fist. The golden claws collided with it. A sharp clang rang out, accompanied by the grating shriek of metal scraping against metal. The green bead swelled instantly, struggling to break free from the worm's grasp. A cold glint flashed in the golden Wyrm King's eyes, his fingers lengthened, nails extending several feet in an instant, while a single golden scale, no larger than a coin, materialized upon the back of his hand. Then, crack! With a dull, crushing sound, the bead was shattered between his fingers. A burst of green light scattered into the air, but the golden claws remained utterly unscathed. The dragonification arts. The blue-robed man cried out in horror at the exact moment his treasure was destroyed. Backlash surged through him. He spat out a mouthful of blood essence, but the brief exchange had bought him a sliver of time. Seizing it, he shot forward once more, opening a distance of over 100 feet in the blink of an eye. This time the golden Wyrm King did not pursue immediately. Instead, his expression darkened slightly. He drew back his fist and punched forward. From the void above the fleeing streak of purple light, a massive golden fist over 10 feet wide materialized out of nowhere, crashing downward with lightning speed. Boom! The blow struck true. The blue-robed man was smashed from the sky like a falling star hurtling toward the stone peak below. He tore straight through a pavilion, leaving behind a gaping crater dozens of feet wide before vanishing beneath a cascade of shattered stone. A cold smile curved across the golden Wyrm King's lips. His figure flickered, and in the next instant he stood before the ruined pavilion. Raising his arm, golden light gathered within his palm, ready to deliver the final blow. Then, his expression shifted. Abruptly, he turned toward the pavilion gates, his hand slicing through the air in a grasping motion. "Who's there? Show yourself." 5 projections of golden claws tore through the air, plunging into the ground with terrifying force. The earth split open, 5 trenches each, stretching dozens of feet and plunging deep into the ground. Appeared in an instant, yet struck nothing. A flicker of confusion crossed the golden Wyrm King's face. Moments ago, an inexplicable chill had gripped him, a bone-deep sense of danger, as though an unseen predator lurked in the shadows watching. It had been instinct. The instinct of a heavenly spirit beast, honed over tens of thousands of years, an instinct that had saved his life more than once. And yet there was nothing. Had it been a false alarm? Still the lingering unease refused to fade. As he hesitated, the rubble at the base of the ruined pavilion shifted just slightly before falling still once more. But that single moment was enough. His gaze snapped toward it. Killing intent ignited in his eyes. With a sharp motion, he reached out. Thunder roared. The golden spear reappeared in his grasp, lightning writhing along its length. Without hesitation, he hurled it downward. The spear transformed into a streak of blinding gold, vanishing mid-flight, and reappearing embedded deep within the ground over 200 feet away. A violent tremor shook the earth. A muffled groan followed. The ground collapsed inward, stone exploding outward in all directions. From the chaos, a streak of purple light burst forth, the blue-robed man forced into the open. His face was ashen. Blood stained the corners of his lips. The purple light surrounding him flickered erratically on the verge of collapse. Even that formidable treasure could no longer endure. The moment he emerged, he fled, utterly panicked. The golden Wyrm King smiled. He raised a hand. The spear returned. With another effortless motion, he hurled it again. The blue-robed man's speed had already faltered. Though he summoned a shield and a metal ruler in desperate defense, they were nothing before the spear. 2 explosions rang out in rapid succession. Both treasures were destroyed. The spear did not slow. The blue-robed man twisted, struggled, tried to evade, but it was far too fast. The golden spear pierced through the final layer of fading purple light and drove straight through his chest. A scream of anguish tore from his throat. Then he fell. His body struck the ground with a dull crash, lying motionless. A charred, bowl-sized hole marred his chest, thin arcs of lightning dancing across the wound as the acrid scent of burnt flesh drifted through the air. The golden Wyrm King summoned the spear back into his hand, snorting coldly. "Huh, you think a mere mid-nascent soul cultivator could escape me? Laughable." With a flick of his fingers, several golden nails shot forth, expanding mid-flight. In an instant, they became massive spikes, pinning the blue-robed man's limbs and neck to the ground. Runes flared. Golden chains coiled forth, sealing him completely, locking even his nascent soul in place. The golden Wyrm King gestured again, drawing the storage pouch from the corpse. His spiritual sense swept through it, and his expression darkened. He lifted his gaze, scanning the battlefield. In the distance, 2 nascent soul cultivators had already been dragged back into combat. A grey-robed figure clutching a gourd and a cloud of blood mist fled toward the horizon, shrinking into mere specks. The blood mist moved faster, far faster. The golden Wyrm King's lips twitched. For a moment he considered. Then his body dissolved into a streak of golden light, chasing after the fleeing blood mist. As the golden radiance vanished into the distance, Han Li, concealed behind the pavilion gates, let out a faint, quiet breath. When the blue-robed man had crashed into the pavilion, he had nearly acted, nearly seized him to search for the spirit stone. But in the end he had restrained himself, and it had been the correct choice. The golden Wyrm King's spiritual sense had brushed dangerously close. His attack had nearly exposed Han Li's presence. Fortunately, Han Li's mastery of teleportation had allowed him to slip away silently, evading detection by the narrowest margin. From the golden Wyrm King's reaction, it was clear. The spirit stone was not in the storage pouch. nor could it have been carried openly. A treasure of such pure spiritual chi would have revealed itself instantly. Han Li ignored the fallen blue-robed man. Instead, his gaze lifted toward the sky. Within the lingering blue demonic mist hovered a lone figure, an 8th-grade demonic cultivator, left behind to oversee the battlefield. Its skin bore a faint bluish hue. Scales mottled its limbs. Its features were sharp, sinister, almost grotesque. Suddenly it turned its head. Han Li's eyes narrowed. He followed its gaze. In the distance, a sphere of pale yellow light was approaching at high speed. Within it, something moved. A demon beast, carrying something. A blue glint flickered through Han Li's eyes as he activated his bright sight spirit eyes, focusing intently on the figure within the light. It was a peculiar demon beast, its body resembling that of a seahorse, yet sprouting 4 grotesque arms. In each of its hands it clutched an azure storage pouch, as though it were the most precious treasure in existence. A twisted grin of elation spread across its hideous features. Han Li's pupils shrank ever so slightly at the sight. At that very moment, the blue demonic cultivator hovering above turned toward the 4-armed creature and began communicating with it via voice transmission. Almost instantly, a similar gleam of excitement surfaced on its face. Its body flickered and transformed into a streak of blue light shooting toward the 4-armed beast. The moment Han Li saw that expression, the final trace of hesitation in his heart vanished. Without the slightest delay, he released his concealment technique. A thunderclap erupted behind him as a pair of shimmering thunderstorm wings unfurled from his back, and in the next instant he was gone. His figure flickered through the air several times, each movement accompanied by arcs of silver lightning. In a heartbeat, he had crossed over 10,000 feet. Then, boom, another thunderclap. Han Li appeared directly above the 4-armed demon beast. Ah! The creature reacted with surprising speed. Realizing it was under attack, it immediately opened its maw, releasing a dense torrent of yellow light. At the same time, its body twisted into a streak of yellow brilliance, veering sharply to avoid Han Li as it sped toward the 8th-grade demon beast. It had no intention of fighting. It knew. It knew it stood no chance. But it was only a 6th-grade beast. There was no escape. Han Li paid no heed to the enraged roar erupting from the 8th-grade demon beast nearby. With a casual sweep of his sleeve, a vast expanse of azure light surged forth. Over 100 streaks of yellow light were effortlessly brushed aside, scattering from the sky as slender yellow needles. At the same time, Han Li raised his other hand and made a grasping motion. What followed was eerily reminiscent of the golden Wyrm King's earlier display. Above the fleeing demon beast, azure light coalesced, forming a colossal hand. It descended like divine judgment. In the blink of an eye, it seized the creature, locking it in place. Terror surged through the demon beast, so intense it felt as though its very soul might be torn from its body. Golden light erupted wildly across its form. Its 4 arms twisted and elongated, transforming into razor-sharp blades as it slashed frantically at the enormous hand. But this was an attack from a late nascent soul cultivator. The blades struck again and again, yet the azure hand did not so much as tremble. Han Li's expression turned cold. His fingers slowly curled. The giant hand followed suit. A shrill, agonized scream tore through the air. The demon beast's body, sturdy though it was, could not withstand such overwhelming force. It was crushed, its form torn apart into several grotesque segments. At that very instant, Han Li vanished once more in a streak of silver lightning. He reappeared beside the mangled remains, reaching out to seize the azure storage pouch. His spiritual sense swept through it, and a faint smile of satisfaction touched his lips. "Leave that spirit stone." A thunderous roar exploded nearby. The 8th-grade demon beast had witnessed everything: Han Li's sudden appearance, the effortless slaughter, the theft of the very treasure their entire army had been searching for. Its fury erupted like a storm. Infused with magic power, its roar spread across dozens of kilometers, reaching the ears of countless demon beasts. Han Li's brows knit slightly as he turned toward it. His gaze, cold, utterly devoid of warmth, like one looking upon the dead. Blue light flashed as the demon beast drew closer, yet the instant its eyes met Han Li's, it felt as though it had been cast into an endless abyss of ice. It stopped, frozen in place. Only then did it hurriedly probe Han Li's cultivation, and its breath caught sharply. A late nascent soul cultivator. Who are you? It instinctively retreated a step, summoning two shell-like treasures that hovered before it, forming a defensive stance. Fear flickered in its eyes. Han Li's expression did not change. Who am I? He replied indifferently. Why should I answer a dead man? His gaze shifted, scanning the battlefield. The roar had done its work. In the distance, two metamorphosis-stage demon beasts abandoned their battles mid-fight, transforming into torrents of azure wind as they rushed toward him. Even farther away, golden light flickered amid distant thunder. The golden Wyrm King was returning, and at that terrifying speed, it would not take long. Han Li considered this for a brief moment. Then, a cold smile surfaced. He stored the pouch, his hand flipping, as a green wooden ruler appeared. The 8th grade demon beast's expression changed drastically. Without hesitation, it activated its treasures. White light flared, forming a solid barrier around it. A flicker of relief crossed its face. Han Li merely sneered. The ruler moved, softly. Yet in the next instant, Buddhist chants echoed through the heavens. A massive silver lotus blossomed above the demon beast, spanning dozens of feet. From it, radiant 7-colored light cascaded downward like a divine torrent. The demon beast tried to move, but could not. The air around it tightened, an invisible force pressing down with overwhelming might. Its body froze. Its spiritual power solidified, locked immovable. It cried out, but too late. A streak of golden light 10 feet long flashed past. The barrier cracked, shattered. The golden light swept by, and in the next instant, the demon beast's body split cleanly in two. Its halves fell from the sky. Yet even then, a cluster of green flames burst forth from the corpse. A thunderclap. Han Li appeared once more, pointing a finger. The flames froze mid-air, bound by his immense power. With his other hand, he summoned an azure jade vial. White light surged forth, sweeping the flames inside. At that moment, the two approaching demon beasts halted abruptly. What they had just witnessed was annihilation. Effortless. Absolute. Fear rippled through them both. In the distance, the golden Wyrm King was drawing nearer. Other demonic auras converged from all directions. Han Li glanced once more, then murmured softly, "I've already obtained the Spirit Stone. There's no need to linger." A faint smile. Then he vanished into the horizon as a streak of azure light. "Stop him!" The golden Wyrm King's command thundered across the sky. The two demon beasts had no choice. They formed seals, summoning twin azure wind worms that lunged at Han Li. But he laughed, vanished, reappeared 200 feet away in a flash of lightning. The wind worms could not keep up. "Leave the Spirit Stone behind." A savage gleam ignited in the golden Wyrm King's eyes as he hurled his spear once more. The weapon flashed through the air, closing in with terrifying speed. Han Li slowed, calm, unshaken. A small silver shield appeared, expanding rapidly. The spear struck. A deafening clash. Gold and silver collided, neither yielding. Lightning lashed outward, coiling toward Han Li. He reached out and caught it. Golden lightning erupted from his arm, obliterating the silver serpent instantly. Then, a palm struck the shield. Silver light flared. The spear was thrown back. Han Li seized the moment and shot forward, his speed surging to its peak. In mere breaths, he crossed over 1,000 feet. Ahead, a streak of black light. The demon tortoise. It saw him, felt it. Fear. It turned to flee. Han Li's eyes gleamed coldly. The azure light around him flickered, then vanished. The space ahead emptied. The demon tortoise faltered, instinctively slowing. Just for a moment,